Hello. What are you doing?
Duncan is getting me my Pacifico so that I have my beer to drink, and I'm sure he's putting it in the appropriate glass because, we're not allowed to drink out of the bottle here.
Drinking out of the bottle, and I'm not sorry. How else would people know that I'm drinking delicious Pacifico? If I drink it in a glass, I could be drinking Bush Light and like my husband, and that is not okay.
No.
Shut up, Joe.
We like to be honest with what we're drinking.
Mm-hmm. I drink a Pacifico. Um,
Hmm.
so I have a female cardinal out on my feeder right now, and she is just yelling at everybody. I'm not sure why she's so mad. She's just chirp, 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 just chirping.
Is
And
one of
it's
your
so funny
cats
because
out there?
Betty might be out there somewhere. That's a possibility. But she's up high. She's what, 7 feet off the ground. So
She's probably yelling at
Betty,
everybody to stay off the ground. There's a murderer
yeah,
loose.
there is, and she's very murdery. What did she drop on the What did she drop on the floor the other day? Was it a chipmunk? Joe? What did Betty drop in the mudroom the other day? Oh, a vole. A baby vole.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
Yeah. They have found a nest somewhere, and so one or both of them will just, you'll find a little baby vole. If it's in the bedroom, it's Marla. If it's in the mudroom, it's Betty. uh,
Treats, so many treats.
so many treats, so little time. So yeah. But they've been inside the last couple of days because it's been chilly. But they're back outside today, and they are ready to explore the world as they
Is
see
it
fit.
warmer there today?
Yeah, it was 60. It was actually gorgeous today. 60 degrees and sunny. Super foggy this morning. Actually saw a car accident this morning on the way to work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some guy clipped some other guy making the turn because he couldn't see, and it was too late. Everybody was driving too fast. Yeah, it was bad. I don't think anybody was seriously hurt, but because they both got out and they were okay, and they're like, it's fine. So, but this is a bummer. So yeah, here we go. Celebrating Pacifico. So Pacifico is a Mexican. I didn't make because I have to work like a regular person now. I didn't make a cool slideshow about Pacifico, but where's Duncan?
Duncan,
Yeah.
please tell us about Pacifico.
Yeah.
Technically, the name is Pacifico Clara. The beer, Clara meaning clear or light. They also make a Obscura, which is a dark. It was founded in Mazatlan, which is in the province of Sinaloa, by 3 German immigrants in 1900.
There you go.
There you go.
Everything you ever needed to know about Pacifico. That's right, Duncan talking about Pacifico. There you go.
Crap for head retention.
And Duncan says it has crap for head retention.
So in case you were wondering what that means, it means that if you pour the beer and it's all fluffy on top of the head of the beer, it doesn't retain its head. Look at that. That's weak ass head retention right there. So anyway.
This is not a euphemism. It's literal.
It's literal. Yeah, that's right. Bruby is with us. She said yes. It was crazy foggy this morning, like dense fog, like driving super slow. You might as well just turn your headlights off because they're not going to help you anyway. Sort of foggy.
Ugh.
Tina's with us. Yo, Tina, what is up? She says, hi, Duncan. And she wants you to know that she had her honeymoon in Mazatlan, Mexico.
Oh.
So,
Well, there
yes.
you go. Is it on the Pacific? Hi. That's what I was wondering.
Yes, that's why Pacific.
Oh, it's on the Pacific. That's why it's Pacifico.
Mazatlan is
nice.
a port city.
Oh, Mazatlan is a port city. Yeah. There you
go. Dude, Duncan, you are a Renaissance man because not only do you know about beer, but you know about coastal cities as well. So well done. Yeah. Hey, speaking of, Anne, tell us why we're drinking this beer today.
Oh, we're drinking this beer today because our movie pick this week was Pacific Rim. So we're drinking Pacifico, which is a Pacific beer, even though it's not like there's kind of this sort of we'll talk more about it, but this more of like Asian theme in the Pacific Rim sort of thing. But so that's what we picked this beer because it had the name of the Pacific. And the director of Pacific Rim is Guillermo del Toro, who's actually from Mexico City. So there you go. So Pacific Rim, Mexico City.
Nice,
There you go.
nice. There are giant shrimp in Mazatlan. I didn't know that.
Wow. Like
I know.
giant shrimp or giant shrimp? Like how big? Like I want a giant shrimp to be the size of my head. So like I like my donuts, the size of my head.
I could see why you would
That
want
would be
that
an
for
awesome
real.
giant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So there you go. So
Very
that's
good.
why Pacifico was chosen. We had another more obvious choice, but tonight's a school night, so we went with Pacifico. We'll talk
That's
about
right.
that in a moment too.
Very good. So there you go. In drinking Pacifico, I would say it's a very nondescript beer.
Exactly. As soon as I drank it, I was like, I wish I had some French fries to go with this.
Yeah, this would be good. This is the kind of beer you drink with food because the food tastes good and then the beer tastes pretty good. But this is not really a beer that, of course, I don't really like to drink beer by itself. I like to beer with other stuff. I'm like you, Ann Brothers. I like beer with food.
I like beer with food, like pizza or French fries or hamburgers, nothing fancy.
No, nothing fancy. It's okay. Tina wants you to know that the shrimp is not quite as large as your head.
Oh.
Sorry. It's okay.
Well, maybe that's for the best because, if shrimp was that big, they'd be hunting us. So, it's for the best.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right. Well, and speaking of giant stuff, that's what Pacific Rim is about. It's about giant stuff. So let's get to it. Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome. All right.
Sounds good. So Pacific Rim is a big blockbuster movie. It came out in 2013, directed by Guillermo del Toro. And I have to admit that usually Pacific Rim, this type of movie is not something I would usually see, but I'm a huge Guillermo del Toro fan, and I've talked about him in other times we've talked about movies. So that's why I went to see this movie, because it was his movie, and I try to support anything that he either directs or produces because I'm a big fan of his. It was written by Travis Beachman and also Guillermo del Toro. And here's why I love this movie, and I put it in parentheses here. If a movie plot was ever real life, Jenny and I would be Jaeger pilots. Yes. And we'll talk more about that more in a minute. But as I was watching this movie for the first time in the theater, I look at Duncan and I'm like, Duncan, Jenny and I would be the best Jaeger pilots ever. And that's when I decided I totally loved this movie, because I'm like,
I don't disagree with you. Between our two brains, we would be good. We're both we both are athletic enough, smart enough, and angry enough to do this.
Mm-hmm. And we would have a really good neural connection. We'd be able to make a really good mental handshake together. So
the neural handshake. Yes.
The neural handshake. Exactly. So what is Pacific Rim about? Well, huge monsters, and I'm talking like Godzilla type monsters, are mysteriously appearing out of a deep trench in the Pacific Ocean and attacking coastal cities along the Pacific coast. So the Pacific Rim. So that means like Alaska, all along the
Philippines,
Western North America into Western South America, over to
Hong
the
Kong,
other side, and Japan and China, and make it part of Russia and Siberia. What I'm saying is it's a mess. It's a big area, and monsters are attacking it. So the monsters are dubbed the kaiju, which is Japanese for monster. See? Told you it was kind of had an Asian thing going. And to fight the giant kaiju, the Jaegers, which is German for hunter, are designed. And these are giant robots that are piloted by two humans who are locked in a neuro bridge. So they literally have to share a brain, basically, in order to run one of these ginormous robots. And that's why I thought because Jenny and I basically share a brain anyway. So I'm like, it would be an easy thing. Plus, we're both angry. So it works out really well. We could fight monsters. Anyway.
Why not? How's it going to be different than teaching 8th graders? Not.
Exactly. I think it's far less dangerous. At least you can hit the monster. You can't hit children.
Oh,
at least not your own. At least ones that aren't yours. Anyway. Totally different show. All right. So in the last days of the fight for Earth, the few remaining Jaeger pilots are brought together to join to close the breach between the world of the kaiju and ours. And it's not if they don't close the breach, then it's the end of mankind. I know it's very dramatic. So I heard an interview with the director of this movie when it first came out, and his favorite movies, some of his favorite movies when he was growing up as a little boy in Mexico City, was to go see Godzilla movies. So basically, this is a love letter to Godzilla movies. Again, something I usually wouldn't see, but because it was, Del Toro, I was like, all right, I'm in. So it's basically his love letter to the Godzilla movies he used to see when he was growing up in Mexico City. So remember those, like sometimes they'd be on Creature Feature dubbed in English?
Yes.
Well, imagine those dubbed in English, dubbed in Spanish. So
I absolutely, I am a closet Godzilla fan. I used to love those movies when I was a kid. I just thought they were like so cool. And I'm like, this is the coolest, weirdest. And I just love the weirdness of it. I love the weirdness of the bad Godzilla and the bad Mothra. And I love the campiness of the dubbing was the movies were so poorly dubbed, and there was just something really train wrecky about the whole thing that I just thought it was amazing. And what I like about this movie is it's very much, unlike, because they've remade Godzilla, I don't know, like 800 times. And this, you could say, oh, it's just another Godzilla movie, but I felt like everybody was having a lot more fun making this movie, especially the secondary characters, not necessarily like the Charlie Hunnamans and the Idris Elbas of the world, but the Ron Perlmans of the world. Ron Perlman is having a great time making this movie.
And the two scientists, the guys that play the scientists. I mean,
oh my God, it's fabulous. And so there's so many other little things, like you said, that just make this movie so freaking fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just the whole montage at the beginning, where like they have toys. They actually, like we had Godzilla toys when we were growing up, and they have kaiju toys, and it was just really. Oh, and I here's where I meant to talk about the Jaeger pilots. See, Jaeger bombs or Jaeger shots would have been an appropriate drink today, but like I said, it's a school night, and neither one of us needed to, partake in that.
I don't particularly love Jägermeister. I just don't. I don't think it's very good. It's heavy. I'm not a huge licorice fan, so it's got that licorice, base to it, and I'm just like,
I've never had it, and if I never have it, I'll be okay. And the fact that I didn't have to go buy any of it was just perfectly fine with me.
Yeah, I don't like it. And like I said, I had an incident earlier in my life with some Jaeger. So, Yeah.
I'm sure you're not the only one, Jenny. I think that's why it's so popular. It just causes incidents.
It is. It's an incidents maker. So
it's an incidents maker. Indeed. All right. So why I think this movie is worth watching. And of course, first of all, it's the director, Guillermo del Toro. He does a beautiful job with all of his movies, and he's done things like The Shape of Water, which won an Academy Award for the Best Picture. Crimson Peak. He loves horror movies. He just loves horror movies and anything that's a little scary. He usually has some pretty good female characters in his movies. This one does not. So that was usually reason why I was like, this does not at all. He did both Hellboys, the first two Hellboy movies. He did both of those. Of course, Pan's Labyrinth. So that's the first reason. If you know his movies at all, they're going to be spectacular. They're going to be beautiful movies. If nothing else, you get that out of it. And there's always a nice little, even like, this isn't a Godzilla movie. It's a love letter to Godzilla movies. So it has its very own touches in it, which is really great. Idris Elba and Ron Perlman are both fabulous actors. They're both totally different sides of the spectrum in this movie. Idris Elba is, the tough military, very few words, very, stern. And then Ron Perlman is practically like, a tent revival preacher. I mean, as soon as he comes out in his outfit, you're just like, oh, and that's another thing about Guillermo del Toro is he often works with the same actors over and over again. And Ron Perlman was in some of his very first movies, Spanish-speaking movies, which is hilarious because Ron Perlman doesn't speak Spanish.
Yay!
So he's been working with Ron, who was also in Hellboy. He's been working with him for like 30 years. So
nice.
Anyway, those two performances right there are worth the price of admission. It's one of the best escapist movies where the world helps the good guys defeat the interdimensional monsters and Earth is saved. Now, there's still things that you can hate. Nazis, monsters from space, interdimensional monsters. So that's the nice thing. And if you don't, I'm like, there you go. It's perfectly okay to hate those things.
And the monsters that he creates in this movie are just badass, like these monsters would gut Godzilla. Yeah, they're just and again, one of the things I like is that Guillermo del Toro's movies are very stylish, and this is no different. It is, again, gorgeous to look at. The special effects are amazing. The artistry behind the design of the kaiju and even the design of the Jaegers is really just cool. This is just a cool looking movie.
It is.
That's why I like this movie. I'm like, this stuff's cool. So
yeah, it is. And I even put that amazing special effects. The movie looks great, and the movie does take itself seriously, but not too seriously. You can't have Ron Perlman in his part and not like start laughing. So there's some. It definitely it's not as goofy as like the Godzilla movies, but there's definitely a certain play about it that's very refreshing. It's definitely not Michael Bay.
No, thank goodness. Bruby, yes, you've had an incident with the Jaeger as well. I get it. I get it. So
I think a lot of people have. So.
Bruby's got a comment about Pan's Labyrinth. She said we had to watch that in college Spanish in our classroom when our professor was gone one day. Someone brought a whole microwave to make everyone in the class microwave popcorn during the movie. That's awesome.
That's very awesome. What a great way to see the movie.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, because it is. If you've ever seen Pan's Labyrinth, it's Spanish with subtitles, and it's a great movie.
It's beautiful. So, it is. Yeah, like I said, it's one of my top 5. So yes,
for real.
All right. So there are some flaws with Pacific Rim. As I said, Guillermo del Toro likes to work with actors over and over again, and Charlie Hunnam is one of the actors that he's worked with more than once. He was actually in Crimson Peaks. He plays the lead, Raleigh Beckett. I got to give it to him. Charlie Hunnam is easy on the eyes. I mean, he is not bad to look at. He's not a very good actor, though. I don't care what he's ever been in. He's not very good. The good news is that most directors that cast him seem to surround him with really good actors, and they kind of like brush off a little bit on him. But he has only 2 emotions, and that's anger or really angry. So that's about it for his,
Did you ever see the King Arthur movie he was in?
Oh no, I refuse to see it. The previews look terrible.
Bad. It's terrible. It's one of those movies where I can only sit and watch it in about 10 to 15 minute chunks, and I just had to be like, nah, this is and he's especially bad in it. He's so bad.
Yeah, in fact, I try not to see movies that he is in because he's such a bad actor.
Yes, he is. That's what, but that's okay. In a movie like this, it's like Keanu Reeves. If you get Keanu Reeves in the right movie, John Wick, for instance, it's amazing to watch. And if you get Charlie Hunnam in the right movie, like this movie, it's fun to watch. So
exactly, yeah, he doesn't have to be. And I even said that. Fortunately, this film does not require brilliance because he is not brilliant, and they put a lot of other good actors around him. And like I said, he's pretty. It's a loud movie, so if you're not into loud movies, then this probably isn't for you. But it is loud. I mean, it's an action adventure where we're saving the world. Those movies are always loud. It's never a quiet thing. It's got lots of testosterone, so sometimes the lines you're just like, oh God, help me, it's so terrible. But and then they have a tacked on romance, which I think is completely unnecessary. But what are you going to do? Charlie Dunham's got to prove that, he can get the girl. He can save the world and get the girl. So, and since there's only a girl in this movie, he's got to get her.
Just one. No, wait, there was 2. There was 2. Keiko
Russian.
and then or Mako, and then the Russian woman. So
Right.
yes,
I
go.
think had no lines, but you know,
No, she didn't.
looked good.
She looked tough. I would not have messed with her ever.
Me neither. Me neither. So there's a couple of good quotes in this movie. The first one is, 1, don't ever touch me again. 2, don't ever touch me again. And of course, that's Idris Elba as Stacker Pentecost. And he's the opposite of Charlie Dunham in that Charlie Dunham, like I said, only has
Hunman,
2
Charlie
emotions.
Hunman.
Sorry, Hunman.
Hunman.
Hunham. Whatever. He's English. Anyway,
I forget English.
actually, so is Idris Elba. So anyway, Idris Elba is very, stern and reserved, kind of the opposite of Charlie's character. So, and then the next quote that I liked was also from Idris Elba. "Today we cancel the apocalypse." And that's such a great line for a movie.
Yes.
Where the apocalypse is nigh. So
totally. No, that's that scene where Raleigh basically grabs Idris's character Stacker and grabs him by the arm and pulls him back, and then you can just see in his face that he was just steaming about that, and then how he delivers that line, and then when he waits for the response, and Charlie Hunnam doesn't give him one, he's like what, and like badass.
Badass, totally. And then, of course, all of Charlie Hunnam's lines are stuff like, "Let's do this. Come on. It isn't over." Repeat.
Yep, that's exactly right. So, and again, which, I don't know, if you're in an action movie, are there ever any really decent lines? So, not really.
Those 2 that I pointed out, those are the ones that are the decent. Those were the 2 best lines. So
agreed. So Joe's issue with this movie, I pretty much I agree with you in terms of this movie. By all means, Joe, my husband does not. His problem with this movie is that there were no boobs, not even tasteful side boob, and I disagree because of this. I'm like, I'm sorry, but we got to see Charlie Hunnam's boobs. There
exactly.
You go.
There you go.
Both from the front and from the side.
And from the side, exactly. And hey, it's like, all right, I can see why you cast him. I wish he had been without a shirt most of the time.
That's how I feel about Chris Hemsworth too. You should never put a shirt on Chris Hemsworth. I'm like, why did they have to put a shirt on Thor? I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Shirt's not going to help Thor do any better.
Exactly. A cape, no shirt. I think that's completely legitimate.
I agree.
It's a choice.
It's a choice. It's a bold choice. So, in my opinion,
it makes the ladies and the gay men happy. So I don't know why we wouldn't do that. That's a huge movie-going group.
That's a lot of us. So
exactly.
So indeed. So overall, you should watch this movie. It was fun. You just gotta park your brain at the door and be like, that monster looks cool because it's got a head like a knife.
Exactly. Yeah, it's just a fun action movie. It's it's cool to look at. Special effects are awesome. All the monsters are cool. The costuming is great, So it's just they went all out. I mean, why not? I mean, it made a ton of money. I mean, it was huge budget, and then it made like 4 times what it cost to make. So there you go.
Yeah, and they made at least one crappy sequel, and I'm pretty sure there's a video game of it too. So
yeah, I never saw the sequel because none of the things I liked about the first one were in the second one. So I was like, let's not press our luck here.
Nope. So yeah, there you go. In case you're looking for something to watch, you know what to watch now, and that movie is Pacific Rim. I believe you can rent it on the Amazon. It's not on any of the streaming services.
It's not.
No, so you have to, if you want it, you got to rent it. And that's not so terrible. It was like $4 on Amazon, and
if you have Stars, you can get it.
Okay, so you can pay either $30 to watch Mulan, or you can, which you've already seen, Disney's already done it anyway, or you can pay $4 and watch Pacific Rim. I think it makes more fiscal sense to watch Pacific Rim.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. So there you go.
You're welcome, America.
You're welcome.
So yeah.
Well, all right then.
yeah, so that's it for today, folks. Oh, I just watched Marla. She tried to catch a bird. She was way more ambitious than she should have been there. That was not going to end well. The bird was looking right at her.
You see, and that's the thing. That's what the female cardinal was trying to tell everybody. Murderer here.
Except Marla. Marla's not what you would call stealthy. Marla is a Rubenesque kitten. So, and she's not really a kitten. She's Rubenesque.
She's Rubenesque. She is, yes. However, Rubenesque.
Yes.
Well, hey, dare to dream.
Exactly. So, I don't know. We'll be back this weekend to talk about stuff. We usually do smart stuff on the weekend, so we'll probably come back with some fun and smart thing on Sunday. And again, you guys, if there's something that you think we should talk about here on the Brothers Sisters Smart Dumb Fun, then by all means, we would totally love to hear from you, because that's kind of what we do. So, we know lots of stuff. We know people, or even more important, we know people that know lots of stuff. So there you go. But yeah, exactly. So we'll see you at some point this weekend. So keep your eyes on the Facebook for our promos, so that and if you like this, like it. If you think it's worthwhile, share it with your peoples. What's the other one? Like, share. Subscribe. Yeah.
That's it.
Follow? Yes, that's it.
Follow?
Yes. All right, good. Excellent.
We're going to get the hang of this eventually.
Totally. It's going to be amazing. All right, Ann Brothers, it's like 9 o'clock, going on 9 o'clock at night there or something, isn't it? So, I guess
it's only 7:30 here.
Okay.
Yeah,
all
it's
right.
only 7:30 here.
Football starts in less than an hour.
20 minutes before bedtime.
Yay! I know. You guys thought I was kidding last night when I cut us off because I said I was going to bed. I was literally in bed 10 minutes after we got done with our broadcast last night.
Nice.
It's that time. All right, Everybody, thanks so much. Ooh, wait. Tina says we should talk about Hubble telescope stuff. It's a good idea.
Okay.
That's
we
cool.
Could do that.
The Hubble telescope's amazing. And even though it doesn't really work 100%, it's still really awesome. Even though they had to fix it because they launched it into space and it was immediately broken. That's okay. Good job. They still fixed it. It's still awesome.
Well, it's got to be hard, It's like, it can't be easy.
Space. No, because there's no air in space and stuff. So,
nobody can hear you scream.
Oh. I always think about that first scene from, what's the movie with Sandra Bullock? Where she gets lost in space, kind of.
Oh, Gravity?
Gravity. Yes, that first scene in Gravity. That's one of my favorite scenes of any movie. It's amazing. So, all right. Anyway, we're off topic.
All right.
All right, guys.
Have fun watching football.
I will. All right, guys. Be good. Okay. Bye.
Bye.